Still every day, just about every morning, I sit down to do my notes and plan my day and go, you have lost your mind. Still.
I think that's a prerequisite to becoming a photographer. I think we're all a little loopy.
Like, how I'm going to play with toys all day and make money. How is this real?
Welcome to Off the Memory Card, the podcast where photographers talk about everything but taking photos, because photography is only 10% photos and 90% building a life and business you love. I'm Kathleen Burns. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome to Off the Memory Card. I'm Kathleen. We are continuing our series into picking the brains of photographers who are truly excelling in certain areas. And today we are unpacking the world of B2B photography, which is, of course, business to business rather than business to consumer. And I have with me Guru Frank Miller. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I don't know about Guru, but I'll take it. Thank you.
So we're definitely going to dig deeper into the whole B2B thing here shortly. But first, I just want to hear a little bit more about you and how you discovered your love for photography.
Oh man, that's a lot to unpack, but I'll be real brief. I've loved photography since I found out what cameras were. When I was a young pup watching my dad take pictures of the family, he had a love for photography. I call him a photographer. He would say he's not a photographer.
He's humble.
He is. Back in the day when we still had photo shops here in West Virginia, he had some of his images up on the walls and all of them. It was in that landscapes and trains and events and families. And so just following in his footsteps, I wanted a camera too. And that was it. You know, the old 110 brick cameras. I had probably a blue million of those. And then I stepped up to 35 millimeter as I got older and shot film all through high school. And I just never put it down. It's always been something that's been part of my life.
When did it become hobby to this is how I'm going to make a living?
That's a good question. So I'm 45 years old, and this iteration of my business is about 5 years old. I say 5 years ago, I became realistic about my skills and my abilities, but throughout the years, I was always doing side gigs, weddings, portraits, events, a lot of band and music photography. It really didn't come into its full shape until about 5 years ago.
Okay, and what did that look like?
Crazy. My wife's a realtor, so
You both have very busy schedules and crazy lives.
What is free time?
No, it doesn't exist.
So when she became a realtor, I was like, look, if you hire a photographer, I'm being real mad. And I knew nothing about real estate photography, but I said, that's dumb. I'm a photographer. Let me get a camera. And at the time, I didn't have anything. And we all have cell phones. And I'd kind of put it to bed. I'd given my whole old school crop sensor Nikon kit to a young photographer and was like, go do your thing. And so 5 years ago, I picked up a Nikon D610 and a wide angle lens, and I went out and started shooting real estate. What I didn't expect to happen was for that to blow up. And next thing you know, I'm quitting a day job making near six figures to do this full time.
That's a scary jump. It's a leap of faith in a way. I know I experienced.
It was so scary. Like, it was literally on the phone with some real estate brokers and then the next day putting in my 2 weeks notice and thinking, I have lost my mind. And still every day, just about every morning, I sit down to do my notes and plan my day and go, you have lost your mind. Still.
I think that's a prerequisite to becoming a photographer. I think we're all a little loopy.
Like, how I'm going to play with toys all day and make money. How is this real?
Yes, how people are paying me to do that.
Yeah.
So you were doing real estate for your wife, and you said you also did some portraits and weddings. Was that kind of just people would ask you, people you knew?
Yeah. So my goal in the beginning was to be the wedding photographer.
Okay.
I love weddings. I love love. I love seeing people either at their best or their absolute worst. And on a wedding day, that's what you get. You either get all in or
so true.
It's going to explode. And I like being the fly on the wall there. I also like developing the relationships with the bride and groom beforehand so that by the time we get there, we're all friends. And it's like being a part of the wedding family. And so I really pursued marketing, wedding photography, and videography. And the market was so saturated that going to the wedding expos and setting up and trying to be competitive, I just couldn't be, because even out of the gate, my prices were too expensive for most people. And so not having the cloud of my name and the time here doing it, it was really hard for me. So I had to put all my eggs in that real estate basket. I didn't want to, if I'm being honest. I love anything that I get to shoot. But real estate can be a headache, a huge headache. And that's only because there's so many things involved and it's such a quick turnaround. You got to shoot it and deliver it. What I didn't expect was for that to just go bonkers and blow up to the tune of shooting over 500 listings a year.
So you kind of got to the point where you were doing a lot of work, not necessarily in the area you wanted, but still knowing this is where I belong.
Exactly. I'm good. The business is coming. I can make this work. And the key to making it work was not saying yes to everything, but meeting the client's needs, because there are certain needs for certain situations and being able to provide that. So not just being the guy with a camera that would shoot the house, but also shooting a listing video. Where if they came to me and said, hey, I want to look like Home and Garden Television. Can we walk through and let me guide you through the house? Yes, let me get the equipment to make that happen. And then 360 tours and flying drones through houses, and then all the things that come with that. I just kept saying yes and learning and growing, which showed me the possibilities of learning and growing in other areas.
Well, I admire you for sticking it out in real estate photography, because I gave it a shot. It's kind of one of those things, you know, as you grow in photography, sometimes you just throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
Real estate photography did not stick for me.
It's definitely not for everybody. And I tell people often, especially photographers that come to me like, hey, I'd really like to get into real estate photography. I'm like, well, you messed up there because it's not photography. It's just repeating the same process over and over and over again, as fast as possible.
So how did you decide to get into the B2B space, or was that was it an accident? Was it planned?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
I knew that I wanted to scale and go bigger, and I had other dreams and aspirations for my business. I also knew that it's a lot easier to develop a contract and agree to a payment process with a business than it is with a client. That's why even in the beginning of the real estate journey, I wanted to develop relationships with the brokerage and the broker and not necessarily the agent. So creating retainer clients that work on a monthly basis and on an agreed set amount of deliveries was easier than chasing down a bunch of realtors to put that together.
Absolutely.
And you take that model and you apply it to other businesses and other situations, and you can scale and grow pretty quickly. The key to that is figuring out what exactly do you want to do in the commercial space. And for me, having both skills in video and photo, I knew that I could kind of be a Swiss Army knife and go in and say, hey, client A, you need quarterly headshots, or you have new providers that come into your business that need headshots on a regular basis. Well, I can provide that. You need a certain amount of social media content a month. I can provide that. You need TV commercials. I can provide that. I say but I have a great team of guys that I work with that help me do all of it. But that was really it, was looking at real estate and thinking, okay, this takes this much of me every day to do this. It's not sustainable for one person. How do I keep this same momentum and slow down a little bit?
So when we say B2B, that can mean a lot of different things. It could be branding, it could be corporations, it could be small businesses. What does your client base look like?
I work with clients like direct with marketing companies, one of which is Vandalia Digital. Through them, I work with clients like Toyota West Virginia, or have worked with, currently work with AEP. Direct with my business, I work with clients in our area like Family Care, a special touch in-home care. And I provide them the photos and videos that they need to show up strong on social media. Now, I don't provide any of the management, but what I do is say, here to your marketing department. And what I do is develop a relationship with their marketing department and say, where can I meet your needs this month and what does that look like?
Okay. So, and a little bit of a mixture of corporations and small businesses. Okay. So in my type of photography, where I am more B2C, business to consumer, it's, as far as pay goes, I do a session, they pay me, I deliver their photos. It's pretty cut and dry. How does that work in your world?
It's a great question. It works on a yearly contract. So we sit down and we have a couple of meetings and decide exactly what their needs are going to be throughout the year. Then from that, I look at, can I do this myself? Am I going to have to bring some people in on these projects? What are my costs going to be as the business? What's my travel going to look like? And I take that and I create basically a year package price. And I give them options and how they want to pay. They can pay monthly, they can pay quarterly. Some choose to pay everything up front, which is very scary. I don't like that, but they do. I don't like having that much
I understand
Yeah.
that.
But that's what it looks like. I have some base package ideas that I go with, but really every client's different. So I have to sit down with them, see what their needs are, figure out how I can meet them, and make a good proposal at the end of the day.
So having those contracts though, and the repetitive business, I would think that the income is quite a bit more reliable.
And that's the key. It's monthly reliable. So from that, when you have that kind of stability, you're able to start scaling and growing and thinking bigger, which allows you to have a great studio space, have good office space, have great people to work with and work with you. That it's really the sky's the limit. And that's kind of where I'm at now.
And tell me about your studio, because this is something that you're really growing and expanding on.
So I had a small studio in Hurricane, West Virginia. It was about 300, 400 square feet, basically big enough for a 10-foot wide by 11-foot tall backdrop system to set up, and then all of my gear too, and me. It was cramped to say the least, but it was functional. And I just recently moved into a 4,000 square foot space, which is allowing me to have that corporate head shop station, a good editing station, great gear storage, future plans for a psych wall, building this neat little living room set for interviews and podcasts and that sort of thing. Plus, I also own a couple other businesses that are not photography related that need a home too. So
you have all the space to do that.
I have all the space to do everything. And that's purely because I decided to, believe in myself, believe in the people that work with me and around me, and go do it.
Let's talk a little bit about your schedule. I've been at this for a while, so I'm blessed that I've been able to kind of slow down, not do much on the weekends, but I do still do a lot of work on the evenings. And most photographers in the B2C world, it's evenings and weekends, but your schedule is a little more normal.
A little bit.
That
was one big deciding factor in moving this way. The financial security was number one right up front. Secondary to that was, I can say, I'm not shooting this Saturday and Sunday. And often I don't. However, a lot of those times I am stuck up behind a computer catching up on edits, because that never ends.
It doesn't.
But it does give me a little more flexibility to still say yes to things like weddings that come through, or event photography that comes through, things that I still really love to do.
Oh, that's nice.
And it also lets me say no to the things I don't want to do. So that's really where my experience in this world shines, is the ability to kind of stretch my legs, relax a little bit, even though I'm really not, but say yes to the things I want to say yes to.
What are some other things that you prefer in this realm of photography, other than a little bit of a better schedule and, of course, the more stable income?
I love the event side of the work, both photo and video. I love going and being a part of the businesses that I work with. By the time we really work together for a few months, we've developed such a trust that I become a part of their team. So when they have big announcements or they're having big corporate events, I get to go be a part of that with them and experience that with them, celebrate with them, but shoot it and document it, which is powerful for them to be able to show it in a way that's less current social media vibes and more documentarian.
Do you feel that anyone wanting to get into this space does need to expand and do video as well, or is it possible to just do photography?
That's a loaded question. I think in today's world, you kind of have to be ready to embrace it. If you want to really be successful, especially in our market, we're kind of small. So we kind of have to be a little bit of jack of all trades and kind of master of some. And I think it's almost around here required to say, hey, I can do video too. Or at least have some people in your pocket that you want to work with that can do it as good or better than you can. Because everybody wants to show up strong in social media, and vertical videos are the name of the game at this point in time. So if you're not, even if you're comfortable shooting your stills on your camera body, and pulling out your phone and getting some content for them that way, as long as they're getting a good deliverable on the end, that's what they want. So I knew for me, I had to embrace it. And it was a little bit by accident that I had to get into video as much as I did. I was partnered with a marketing company for a year and a half. That relationship kind of fell apart. And when we parted ways, I had a few of their clients that wanted to still continue to work with me, and that required video. So I had no choice but to say yes and go all in for it. I was already shooting real estate video work, so it made sense to just say yes to it. And quickly, my business nearly tripled within a year's time because of that.
Oh, wow. How big is networking for you?
Oh my God, huge. I do a lot of business networking groups. I'm a member of the B&I group. I have been for going on 4 years. Yeah, roughly 4 years. I wouldn't be where I'm at today without those relationships. 90% of my business comes from that group.
Oh, wow.
And I do other networking things like chambers of commerce and that sort of thing. And the reason I do it is because it's good to show up strong and in person and shake hands, because it's how businesses are business. I mean, we can't hide behind the computer and say, hey, here's an email, I can do this really good. They want to know that the person that they're going to work with is going to be professional, somewhat look professional. And I say somewhat because sometimes I put a suit on for this job. Ugh. And, but they want to build that trust, and trust comes faster when you're face to face.
So if someone is wanting to shift lanes into B2B, where should they start as far as all the things, networking and the work itself?
Actually, it's a great question. I just had a meeting with a young creator today who's 20 years old. He's just kind of starting his business. He asked me that same question, and my advice to him was go out and shake hands. You need to meet people. Start small. Find some small local businesses that you want to work with, people you're excited about, because that helps you deliver a better product, and tell them you want to tell their story.
How do you do that? Do you just show up at their door?
I've done it. There's a few places in Hurricane that I've just showed up to. Said, hey, I really like what you do. I'm a videographer and photographer, and I'd love to tell your story.
Have business cards ready.
Yeah, like here, let me show you something I've done if they got a second, or let me just work with you and show what we can do. And that's led to business. And if I was starting over, that's where I would start.
Okay.
The advice I gave him was do your best not to work for free. And you can go on YouTube and you can look up how to become a professional photographer, and you'll get all the big heavy hitters on YouTube saying, well, offer some free work and don't offer some free work. My opinion is when you can, try to get something out of it, even if it's a trade.
Yeah, I feel like that's not necessarily a one size fits all thing. You kind of have to pick and choose.
Well, I think you're right. And I also think it also devalues yourself. And we have to, even if we're brand new and we're just starting, we have to understand that our time is valuable, our skills are valuable, and we need to be compensated in some way for that.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. What are some of the downsides? We've talked about all the pros, but...
Here's a perfect example. I had a client sign with me in December. Part of our contractual agreement was 2 short form videos a month, any event photography that they would need, headshots as needed per request, and every quarter a long form video for 1 a quarter, equaling 4 to have like a mini docuseries of how the business started, why they do what they do, and so on and so forth. This is a in-home care company. And in order for me to go shoot in people's homes, I need permission. There's HIPAA regulations to worry about. There's model releases to worry about. And we're still coming around to getting everything like that figured out. And what ended up having to happen is I had to stage this and hire actors and start filming things on my own to be able to start fulfilling their contract. The scary parts are sometimes your client isn't ready to deliver what you need from them in order to do the job. And so that's why having a strong contract up front that says, hey, this month, if you don't use this, you lose it. Like if you don't provide me the access that I need, you don't give me the things that I need to do the job for you, at that point in time, you've lost that month's revenue from this job, or however you would say that. Their money spent is now gone. They can't get that back. I can make the decision to make up the deliveries, but if they didn't provide what I needed, then I can't deliver what we agreed upon. And that's a situation I'm currently working through with a client. They didn't give me the access that they needed. And then upon pressing in another face-to-face meeting a couple months into the contract, they tell me they already have what my contract was going to provide for them. And they didn't really understand. So what that meant is the client didn't necessarily read and understand what they were getting into. They may have been just looking for a last end of the year write-off. So at that point in time, I can make the decision to let them out of the contract, or I can make the decision to pivot and try to find something that I can deliver for them in quality. And that's when we decided that I would, unfortunately, inquire a little bit more cost on my end and hire some actors and do some staging and give them a product they can really believe in. So those are the headaches and the nightmares that you can run into.
A lot more red tape and
there's a lot more red tape.
Paperwork.
There's paperwork and there's negotiating. And nowadays people will just run the chat GPT, say, give me a contract for this and this and this. They won't even read it. They'll send it over, sign it and sign it. And what they've not realized is they've now set themselves up for failure in many different ways. So when you're doing these contracts, you have to have somebody that can read them and vet them for you. If you're not a lawyer, I'm not.
Right.
So you need to have that. That's an expense you have to worry about. But you have to really kind of cross your T's, dot your I's, put all your eggs in their basket, hoping they're going to give you access to the things that you need. It's a little scary.
Yeah, that is. And there's a lot to it, more than I realized.
It's way different than even a wedding contract where you say, hey, you're getting married here on this day. This is kind of what we talked about. I'm going to deliver for you. However, I'm not required to deliver any of it. I'm just going to show up and come shoot. And if you don't show up, I still get paid. That kind of thing, right? It's not that simple, unfortunately.
So let's look at this. Who is a good type of person to get into this, and who is this maybe not a good fit for?
You have to be, I say the right person is somebody who, A, isn't afraid of the corporate world, somebody who's confident in their skills. And when I say confident in your skills, this is the kind of situation. Let's say I roll out by myself or even with a couple other guys to a job to shoot, and everything breaks and falls apart. I don't get to say, hey, can we redo this? Can we figure this out? Can we come back? Can we reschedule? I have to deliver.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to figure it out. So
you have to be able to think quickly on your feet.
You have to be able to think quickly on your feet, know that you're going to be able to deliver them something they're going to be proud of, and not be afraid of any of that. So I'd say the right person needs to be slightly crazy. They need to be professional in manner. And when I say that, I mean just comfortable in a professional setting. You know, if suits and ties are involved, you should not feel out of place there. You know what I mean? Do I feel a little out of place there? Absolutely.
But you can fake
but
it
I can fake it till I make it. You know, that's another thing is like, there's a level of professionalism that comes with this world. As creatives, you know, my everyday uniform is a t-shirt and jeans and some kind of weird shoes and hats and rings and all this stuff. I like a little bit of style, but there's times I need to show up in a suit and a tie. I've kind of already mentioned that, but I'm hammering that point home because showing up in suit and ties to big events with corporations has landed me more work from other corporations because when they're looking at the other photographers showing up in their khakis and their black polo shirts and all their gear hanging off of them. I mean, I go as far as to hide my harness and my cameras under my jacket.
Oh, wow.
Just to make sure that I don't stick out like a sore thumb.
It's more of an old world type thing where appearances truly matter.
It really does. I cover my tattoos. Like, I really go the extra mile to make sure that I look as professional as somebody they would want representing them. Because at the end of the day, you now represent that company.
I think you have given the best advice. Thank you so much. I think anyone who has even considered this has a very clear vision now of what they need to get started, or if it's even the right fit for them. Where do you see yourself going from here? What's next for you?
That's scary. That's a really scary question because that's literally right on the forefront of my mind. I don't know. I work with a business coach.
Okay.
And he bugs me all the time to have my 1 year, my 3 year, my 5 year plan. My current 5 year plan is to have a whole team. I wouldn't say a production company or a marketing agency, a kind of a hybrid in between. People that are excited to do graphic design, to do websites, to go shoot videos, to do social media management, all these little things that I have to subcontract out, I'd like to have in-house. Okay. And when I say in-house, I don't necessarily mean employees, but people that want to partner with me and work together.
Right, some good contractors.
Yeah, exactly. And just to, be able to pick up the phone and say, hey guys, we got this big project, let's go do it. And then know that we're going out strong enough to do it.
How big of a team are we thinking here?
I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5. I don't know. There's something there. I haven't got that far in my 5 year plans. Sorry, Bob, if you're listening. But
I won't tell.
But that's the dream. And I think I'm well on my way to that.
Yeah.
I've actually been interviewing and sitting down with creatives that have organically come to me. And it's a really exciting time, and I'm excited to bring them in and get them a part of what I'm doing. I wouldn't be able to do everything that I'm doing if I didn't have the 3 people I currently work with on a regular basis. They help me deliver everything I do. So scaling that and growing that, that's the future. And I'm luckily at a point where some of the businesses I'm working with are scaling and growing too, and they need more, and the contracts are looking to grow and get bigger.
Perfect.
So it's kind of perfect timing and the scariest thing I've ever done.
Oh, but that's so exciting.
It is
The
very
scarier,
exciting.
the better,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
Well, congratulations
you.
on all your success. It's amazing how far you've come and the pivots you made and everything.
Yeah.
So
Thank
well
you.
deserved.
Thank you very much.
Is there anything else you want people to understand about what you do?
No, I don't think so. I think the one thing I would say to everybody listening is just get your camera and go shoot. It's fun to have the toys and look at them and obsess about this camera or that camera. But at the end of the day, we have the cameras to deliver a piece of art. And
knowing how that works and
and
everything
go
that
shoot,
goes along with
go get some experience. And if you don't know what you're doing, find somebody near you that does and ask
for
questions.
help. Yes. Never be afraid to ask for help.
And when you do that sort of thing, the local community grows too. And that's a big deal to me. So
I love that. That's a great quality.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us today.
Yeah,
if people
cool.
want to pick your brain, reach out to you. What's the best way to get in touch with
you can search Frank Miller Photography on anything and they'll show up.
Okay, perfect. We'll add some links for you all to click on too as well. Thanks so much for joining us. I
Hey.
appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. I will see you next week. Thanks for listening to Off the Memory Card. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you'd like some more support on your photography journey, head over to usethatcamera.com.